Sports Talk Show where every fan is welcome. And as you see, today we are talking about the Colts need wide receivers really badly. Whether you sign someone in free agency, whether you sign a vet, or you trade up in the draft for someone, or you pick someone at 42, wherever, you need a guy who's going to be able to be a number 2 or number 3, because behind Michael Pittman Jr., there's not a wide receiver that's capable of playing number 2 or 3 consistently or being healthy to do so. So let's get into it. The current wide receiver room, it's a pretty good receiver room. Oh my goodness, why did I just say that? It is, after Michael Pittman, it is not. You have Michael Pittman, who is a very talented young receiver. Very talented. So then you move down the list. There's not much talent that's proven. Paris Campbell, he's very talented, and we know so. Just can't stay on the field. If you can't stay on the field, how good are you? Then you have Ashton Doolin, who is kind of a deep threat wide receiver that you throw in 3 or 4 plays a game and let him run a deep route and see what he does. Desmond Patman, he made some big plays in that Cardinals game last year. He made most of his opportunity, but we really don't know much about him. We don't have enough on him. He's not proven. He's not, ready to go into the season being the number 2. Then you have Mike Strawn. Mike Strawn was on and off the roster last year. When you're not going to be playing a top wide receiver role like 2 or like 1, 2, or 3, Chris Ballard wants you to be playing some special teams, and Mike Strawn doesn't play special teams at all. So that's why he was on and off. And if he's not going to play at all, he's not going to be. If he's not going to play much in a large role, he's not going to be, on the roster much. So kind of stinks there. But he's shown a lot in training camp. He showed a lot when he was healthy. So. But he's still unproven. Same way Kiki QT. Kiki QT is a little different. I would like to see them use him more. He's fast. He's a good deep threat. I would enjoy it if the Colts used him more. I would enjoy it if they gave him more chances to run deep, to play more in games. I think he'd be a solid wide receiver, but I feel like they didn't use him enough. And DeMichael Harris is surprisingly still on the roster, but DeMichael Harris is, he just... he wasn't on the roster. He didn't really play at all last year. So, there's got to be something that Chris Ballard or something that they don't like about him. So, once again, after you say Michael Pittman Jr., what else are you going to talk about? You have Paris Campbell, when healthy, is very good. But that's 2-3 games a year? 4 or 5 if you're lucky, if you're pushing it. So, well, what's the problem? After Michael Pittman Jr., we were talking about it, is the only wide receiver that can consistently make plays. There's no consistent number 2 or 3. If Paris Campbell was healthy, he'd be our number 2 without a doubt. And wide receiver wouldn't be as big as a need, but it is. Paris Campbell can be that number 2. Can't stay healthy. The rest aren't proven. And no one is over 24. The Colts need a vet. The Colts need someone who could, lead the room. Even though Michael Pittman is the number 1 leader, you still need someone to keep the room in check, to keep the room, honest with themselves, to keep, you need that veteran presence in the wide receiver room. And the Colts don't have that. Now, they do have Reggie Wayne as a wide receiver coach, but they need a veteran presence. Any team does. Every team does. So, here are some free agent targets. If you look at the common big links in free agency, you have Jarvis Landry from the Browns. Would really enjoy Jarvis Landry coming to Indy. He's a good route runner, decent speed, decent hands. He would be a fantastic addition to the Colts. Julio Jones is a common link because, we have Matt Ryan now. So people are saying, oh, you get Julio Jones back with Matt Ryan, they're going to make big things happen. But Julio Jones is not the same player. They haven't played with each other in quite some time, considering Julio Jones being hurt most of that one season. Most of that last season that he was in Atlanta when Matt Ryan was there, when they were both healthy. And then, he struggles he has struggled with injuries, can't stay healthy. He's 33, 34 almost. So Julio Jones isn't a great target, and if we do sign him, he would be that veteran presence, but you still need to draft someone or maybe sign someone else in case for an insurance policy in case Julio gets hurt. You know, but the thing with Jarvis, I know I already moved on, but Jarvis Landry, you'd have your number 2, and he's usually pretty healthy. It's not something you have to worry about with him. So big difference there in health. Then you have Ty Hilton. Ty Hilton, I could see him coming back, but at the same time, I don't. I don't think the Colts want him, and I don't think I think Ty Hilton wants to go try somewhere else, even though he probably does want to play for Indy. Indy's just not offering him what he wants. He's not offering. They're being cheap. Typical Chris Ballard, typical Colts. They built the team right away. Not gonna, whatever. But if we sign an older vet back, why not just TY? If it's not, it honestly, if it's not Jarvis Landry, if it's not OBJ or any of those guys on the right side, I would take TY Hilton over Julio and those guys on the right. Honestly. Then you have OBJ. He's going to be coming off an injury. He's going to be, not 100% for most of the season, and he does struggle with, off the field stuff at times, but at the same time, OBJ is so dynamic. He is such a dynamic route runner. And, you get the ball in his vicinity, he will find a way to make a play. He will find a way to catch it. But thing is, OBJ is not a Chris Ballard guy. OBJ is going to want some money. But if you could get him at a discount, concerning him coming off an injury, it may be worth giving it a shot. It may be worth taking the risk. Then a few under the radar guys. So you talk about Emmanuel Sanders, vet, older vet. He's 35. That's really pushing it for an age with the wide receiver. Once they hit 30s, as we see with TY and Julio, they've hit their 30s, and once they did, even though Julio, more like 31, 32, was on a decline, and TY, once he hit 30, he was on the decline even more as well. So Emmanuel Sanders being 35 and still playing really says something. But him being 35, at that point, you'd rather just have T.Y. Hilton back. Someone that knows the system, someone that knows the team, a player, one of the longest tenured Colts. At that point, just bring T.Y. Hilton back. Then the other two, you have Keelan Cole and D.D. Westbrook. I think these two would be solid number 2 options. Solid number 2 options. They're underrated. They would be pretty damn good vet options. So one of these two would be a solid pickup. I really like these two at number 1, maybe number 3. One of the two I take. One of the two absolutely, but I don't really see the Colts signing one of those two. I really don't see the Colts signing anyone until after the draft. I don't see them signing anyone at wide receiver position anyways after the draft. So, speaking of the draft, we have some draft targets here. So, my number 1, my dream scenario, my dream wide receiver is Jahan Dotson. He is a fantastic route runner. His hands are solid. He's a wide receiver that can come in and make a big difference. He's a smart player. He's a hardworking player. He's a player that will come in and be the number 2 immediately. Then if you have Doolin, if you have those few other guys and Pittman playing number 3, I'm okay with that because they're all different people with different skill sets that have a chance to burst out of the scenes, to have a breakout. And if Campbell finds a way to stay healthy, could you imagine Dotson, Campbell, Pittman, and then Doolin and some of those other guys are decent 4, 5s, and 6s, but not 2 or 3s. But having that diversity would be solid. Would be a very having that diversity is good. You need the diversity. You can't have all receivers with just speed. You can't have all receivers, just 6'4" and not extremely fast. You need to have that diversity. You need to have those different kind of receivers to complement each other. You have the same receivers, they're just not going to get it done as you would like. George Pickens, coming off an injury, so that's something to watch with George Pickens. But George Pickens is a commonly linked. Many people like George Pickens. I do as well, just haven't looked into him too much, but would absolutely welcome a guy like George Pickens in the Indy. Then you have Skyy Moore and Christian Watson. 2 similar players, one from Western Michigan University and one from North Dakota State University. 2 small schools. Skyy Moore, Colts have shown so much interest in Skyy Moore. They love Skyy Moore. If he's there 42. If he's there at 42, maybe they draft him there. If he's there at 3 in round 3, they're definitely gonna take him there. Just saying, he going 2, he going 3. In my opinion, he go either 1. But Skyy Moore is fast. He's on the bigger side, but he's really fast. He can take the speed off of defense. You know, he's not the craziest of route runners, but he's a wide receiver that could really make a nice difference. Could come in and be a really nice compliment to Michael Pittman Jr. Now, I do like Skyy Moore more than Christian Watson, because Christian Watson is, you know, Christian Watson just isn't as smooth as Skyy Moore, in my opinion. I think Skyy Moore is a better version of Christian Watson, even though he's still a small school and all that. But I believe Skyy Moore is much better than Christian Watson. Then, no, not much better, but he's a better option. Then draft targets, you have David Bell, Purdue University. He would be a very solid pickup in the 3rd round. 2nd might be a reach, but David Bell would be a nice addition to this Colts team. You know, big body, he's very fluid, he's smart, he's a hard worker. He's, you know, the only thing with him is his physical abilities aren't NFL like, aren't what you would like from an NFL wide receiver. He's not the fastest. He's not, you know, he's just not that physically gifted, but he's so smart that he would be there where he needs to be. Matt Ryan would absolutely love a guy like David Bell. Smart player, knows where to go, good route running. His physicality is pretty good. David Bell, you know, he does sometimes get, you know, he is physical, but prior to the catch, sometimes he does get out physical. Sometimes someone is more physical with him and it catches up with him. John Mechie the third, another wide receiver that has some injury, you know, that has some injury history, but Mechie is so talented. He is so dynamic. He would be another amazing option and compliment for Matt Ryan, and then a compliment for Michael Pittman Jr. Alec Pierce from Cincinnati. I don't know too much about the kid, but I know a lot of people are talking about him. But he would be a solid, you know, 2 or 3 depending on where you draft him. Probably, you know, you'd probably want to draft him in the 3rd round. Alec Pierce though would be a nice option to complement Pittman and a nice option for Matt Ryan to throw to. Wild scenarios for fun. You know, you trade up for Chris Olave. Chris Olave starts dropping a little bit. You know, he starts sliding, maybe just a little bit. And you go and get aggressive and you go and draft this guy. Chris Olave, Michael Pittman Jr., Matt Ryan, Hines, JT, Granson, Molly Cox. If Campbell stays healthy, and then if you sign a vet. That is a dream. That is an awesome scenario. Now the Colts don't have good, you know, a good pass Ohio State wide receivers. You know, really only one, Paris Campbell, struggling to stay healthy. You know, kind of, you know, Chris Olave's fast. Campbell's fast. Chris Olave is he's elite. Being smart, speed, knows where to go, loves the game. He's smooth. When Olave is out for Ohio State, you see a difference. You see a difference in the quarterback play. So if Olave starts to slip and he's there at like 35, trade up a few spots. Trade up a few spots and go for him. Be aggressive. Will he drop to 35? I don't think so. I think there are a few teams that would, that would take him before then. I could see a team like the Chiefs maybe taking him. You know, they have 2 picks. Maybe even the Bills will take a guy like Chris Olave. And then the other option is OBJ. As I already mentioned earlier, OBJ is one of the bigger names, not really connected to the Colts, not a player that, you know, that Chris Ballard likes, not, you know, Chris Ballard favorite, but he is an amazing route runner. He's smart. He's fast. Some of the best hands in the NFL, and I'm not even going to, you know, shy away on that. He has one of the best hands in the NFL. If he gets the hands on the ball, he doesn't drop the ball. So OBJ would be an incredible addition. Cons on that is he, you know, the injury history, he has had trouble staying healthy. And he is coming off an injury, so maybe you could get him for a discount. But if you sign him on a discount, you're still gonna have to sign someone else, maybe, to have that insurance policy. You're still gonna have to draft someone, regardless of who we sign anyways. So maybe OBJ isn't a great option, but he is a wide receiver that the Colts would enjoy, having, Matt Ryan would love to have a guy like OBJ and Michael Pittman Jr. and if Campbell stays healthy with JT, Hines. Either of these two wide receivers that I have here on the wild scenarios for fun would absolutely make this team, this offense, and just put it over the top. It would make us a pretty damn good team. Probably AFC South favorites. I think we should be AFC South favorites right now. So that's all I got for you guys today. So thank you for tuning into the JDW Sports Talk Show. Let me know what you think the Colts should do. Should they go wild in free agency, sign OBJ, sign Jarvis Landry? Should they go crazy in the draft? Should they trade up for a guy like Chris Olave? Or do they stay put, draft a guy at 2 or 3? If you draft a guy, if you sign a guy like Jarvis Landry, Keelan Cole, JDW Westbrook, maybe you maybe you draft a guy in the 3rd round. So a lot of scenarios, a lot of different, scenarios that we could go through all day here, and we would be here all day. But these are the big names in the draft and free agency that the Colts are linked to, or some under the radar players. So you guys give me your thoughts. Who do you think the Colts should sign slash draft? That's it for today's video. I hope you have a fantastic night, day, and if you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, put that post notification bell on so you miss any future videos. And that's it. This is JDW Sports.